In October 8, 1871, the night the sky turned into a sea of fire, the air roared like a locomotive, and flames swallowed entire towns in minutes. Most people have heard of the Great Chicago Fire, but few know that on that very same night, another fire burned with an intensity so terrifying, it became the deadliest wildfire in American history. This is the story of the Peshtigo Fire, a disaster so devastating it erased entire communities, yet remains overshadowed in history. Peshtigo, Wisconsin, a small but booming town nestled in the heart of America's logging industry. By the late 19th century, Wisconsin's forests were a goldmine of timber, fueling the rapid expansion of cities across the Midwest. But with prosperity came danger. Lumber mills filled the air with sawdust, dry branches littered the ground like kindling, and clear cutting left massive piles of debris. Now imagine an exceptionally dry summer. No rain for months, rivers running low, crops withering. The land itself had become a powder keg. But what ignited it? The answer, a perfect storm, literally. On October 8, 1871, a cold front moved in from the west, clashing with the dry, heated air. The wind howled through the forests, turning small brush fires, common in logging towns, into an unstoppable inferno. This was no ordinary wildfire. Survivors described it as a tornado of fire, a flaming hurricane that consumed everything in its path. The heat was so intense that it melted iron, turned sand into glass, and burned people beyond recognition. Winds exceeding 100 miles per hour hurled flaming debris for miles. People jumped into rivers, hoping the water would save them, but many boiled alive. One survivor, Reverend Peter Pernin, recalled running to the river with his parishioners, clutching a statue of the Virgin Mary. He dunked it into the water, praying for salvation. He survived, but over 1,200 people did not. Some perished in an instant, while others suffocated in the superheated air before the flames ever reached them. In just a few hours, Peshtigo was gone. Over 1.2 million acres of forest wiped out. The fire leaped across the bay, torching parts of Michigan, yet the rest of the world barely noticed. Why? Because on the very same night, Chicago was burning. The Great Chicago Fire, though far less deadly, captured national attention. The media focused on the destruction of a major city. Newspapers, political leaders, even relief efforts were directed there. Meanwhile, the survivors of Peshtigo were left to dig through the ashes alone. Imagine losing your home, your family, and your entire town, only to find that no one even knows it happened. The Peshtigo Fire became America's forgotten tragedy, buried under the weight of history. So, what did we take away from this disaster? The Peshtigo Fire changed how we understand wildfires. It led to better forestry management, the development of early warning systems, and fire prevention policies that shaped the U.S. Forest Service. It also taught a harsh lesson about human vulnerability. When we reshape nature for our own benefit, we must also respect its power. And yet, over 150 years later, wildfires continue to devastate communities. The Camp Fire of 2018, the Australian bushfires of 2019. History repeats itself. The difference? Today we have technology, science, and preparedness on our side. But are we truly listening to the lessons of the past? The Peshtigo Fire was a warning, a glimpse into the raw force of nature, a lesson in how quickly civilization can be reduced to ash. It's a story that deserves to be remembered, not just for those who perished, but for those of us who must ensure it never happens again. If you found this story fascinating, consider subscribing to the Lost Chronicles Stories for more hidden history and untold tales. Because sometimes the most important stories are the ones history forgets.